said we let it go, but we settled for the last. Couldn't let you want it though. Who am I to let you down? No. Who am I to let you down, down, if you let me walk away, maybe then we'd lose it all. No. Who am I to let you My heart rages around like an ocean in my head, because there are so many things that I left unsaid. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, know I'll find you in my dreams. My heart rages around like an ocean in my head. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. If you are echoing around inside
Hello and welcome to EGL Season 1, Round 2 playoffs. We are in the upper bracket. This is going to be Hyperion Origin versus Flippa United. I'm Colonel. Beside me is Paka. Paka, I'm so glad you're back.
I'm so glad I'm back too. I heard I missed out on some Xin Zhao abusing, and I can't be missing any of that. I'm so happy to be back here on the desk with you, Colonel. And let me tell you, this is going to be a banger of a series. I am so excited.
Yeah, I mean, Flippa has come off of a really, really awesome last week. If you guys didn't make that stream, make sure to go back and watch it. But it was an incredible sight. To be honest, they looked very clearly like the better team, but we have to remember, Hyperion was on top of their game before coming into playoffs. They were 6-1 in the regular season, and this team, obviously, even though they do have a substitute, which we'll go into later, they are on top of the world.
And I think they absolutely are on top of the world, but something we have to mention here is Flippa United, ever since the end of the regular season, have been hot, and they've been killing it in their BO3s, and now they're in a longer format, and they are the lower seed here. But honestly, Colonel, I think Flippa are going to be bringing the heat all series. As I think we're into draft to game 1, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but into bans we go, with Hyperion banning away Ziggs, while Flippa United ban away the Alistar.
Not too surprising on the bans. We did see the Ziggs come out last week in the Flippa series versus VBU. So not incredibly surprised to see that banned away. It has been absolutely rampaging in the meta, as well as now the Mordekaiser, which is most likely aimed up in the top side.
And I mean, even though these champions may not be at their strongest points in the meta right now, you have to remember that comfort reigns supreme when you have a player who's gold 2, gold 1, and has a nasty one trick. You have to ban those power picks away. As we see, picks fly from both sides. Diana B1 and Flippa United with the Xin Zhao Ezreal B2. Colonel, the draft is flying in phase 1.
Wow. Really, really confident in their picks. Diana is so strong. AP jungler gives you a lot of AD mid options, which have also been absolutely rampaging. But Xin Zhao, we talked about it last week. I'll talk about it again. Paka, you've been playing this champion to the moon, all the way up to Plat 1 last time I checked, which is totally not where you belong. I mean, but the bottom side, we got Ezreal versus Jinx. We got some heavy scaling options in the bot side.
Absolutely, Colonel. And you know what I love about Flippa United's draft so far is that Xin Zhao Ezreal combo gives them so many flex options going into the rest of the draft, because these champions are just so strong. But Jinx Thresh, this bot lane duo is kind of OP. I think it is one of the best bot lane duos in the game right now because of the way that these champions interact with each other, with all the safety that Thresh provides Jinx. But I mean, we're seeing a throwback to Season 10 Worlds again, with the Ezreal Leona being hovered, another overpowered bot lane for the time. They just lock in super power picks for the entirety of phase 1, and both of these teams are looking strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this support combo. Actually, on both sides, I feel like it offers a lot of different strength. But if we take a look at the second round of bans, all of it focused very, very much in the mid lane. Ahri off the table for Flippa, as well as the Victor taken off as Darius comes off next.
And I mean, again, champions that may or may not be very strong. I know the Victor is still high priority in competitive play, but banning away comfort's just so key from these players, as we don't want to see Hyperion Origins top laner come in here and, get 5 resets and win the game solo on Darius. So no target bans in any role, but just in positions.
Absolutely. And remember, this is a great time to point out that Hyperion Origin are going to be substituting in Squig over the Rune Mage for this series. Wasn't so super set in stone, but now that we see it, that is definitely confirmed, is Flippa going to be locking into Sylas.
Wow. And I think that Sylas is such an interesting pick here from Flippa. I think we've seen Corrido on a ton of control mages throughout the playoffs here, and maybe it's because of the players that he was playing against, but now Corrido may be getting to get to play into his mid lane matchup for once and show us what he has as a mechanical player, as Hyperion responds with Twisted Fate.
So obviously showing a little bit of different styles now. Hyperion can very confidently play to, it looks like, play to the bottom side. Second being a great weak side top laner, and set your Jinx up for success. And obviously Attila would like to be in that power position. But Flippa, with the last pick of the draft, they do know that on Hyperion side, this will most likely be a weak side. So we'll see what they're going to pick. And it is going to be the Aatrox.
Wow. Aatrox is such an interesting pick here. I do believe it has a good matchup into set, but I feel like we see so little of it at this point since the champion's slowly been phased out over time, but it is a very, very good matchup for Aatrox, so I think Flippa may get it right here, Colonel.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing to point out that remember with Flippa, the two picks that you always are expecting just the littlest bit is Caitlyn and Tristana, because you can never count Riv 60 out. He had an amazing game 3 last week. So interesting to see, although it's not one of those comfort picks, very, very confident in that Ezreal R2.
And Ezreal R2, again, such a powerful champion in the meta, which is probably why Riv 60 isn't getting those picks that he's so well known for. But, Colonel, I have to ask you here, after looking at both of these drafts, I think both of them are really good and you have a really tough choice, but Game 1, post-draft, who are you taking?
It's really tough. I think a lot of it for me will fall on Dracana. He's been so good, but Twisted Fate feels very much like either you know how to do it and you're everywhere you need to be at the right times and your roams are constantly getting positive value, or it just feels generally useless because the damage is so much lower in the mid lane position. So do I have faith in Dracana is what I feel like your question's asking. And to be honest, going into Game 1, I do. So I'm going to give it to Hyperion.
And Colonel, I have a little bit of a surprise for you here. I have a hot take, and I don't know if the desk is going to like it, and I don't know if everybody watching tonight is going to like it. I think that this is ADTF. I think that he's going to be going Kraken Slayer, RFC, Twisted Fate. I think that I know a lot about Dracana, and I think that they drafted an AP jungler with Twisted Fate because this man loves abusing the off meta. And I don't know, but I've heard a thing or two about ADTF from him, and I think that's what we might be looking at, Colonel. And that changes my vote for me. I think Dracana is a fantastic player. I love him to death, but I do think he's going for that hidden technology, and I don't know if I can put faith in that, so my draft vote is going to Flippa United.
That's totally fair. I'm not sure if it does come out to be AD Twisted Fate, if that would have changed my vote, but we'll leave that to be a mystery. We are going to take a quick break before we head into Game 1 of Hyperion vs. Flippa. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome to game 1 of EGL Spring Playoffs. We got round 2 Hyperion Origin versus Flippa and Packapal. Hold on to your bootstraps because we got a level 1 invade.
This is what I love to see from the Thresh. They're going to look for more here, Colonel. And let me tell you, if they can get a flash out here, at least Low 5 Foot Fetish could find something. They don't at least get a ward down. If they can at least get a ward, it's a pretty successful invade. They throw down 2. A bit of a waste, if you ask me. They could have definitely got away with 1, but no counter response with a ward on the other side from Flippa, so I don't know, Colonel. My level 1 theory is on point, and I think that Hyperion just win the game now. It's over. I think
Game's done. Let's go to game 2. Loading in. Let's take a look and see if anything looks interesting. So Packapal with his third eye, totally calling Dracana out. He has the PTA. He's ready to go that AD Twisted Fate, which you'll have to explain to me how you ever found that out. And then 4 Conquerors on the side of Flippa.
And I mean, hey man, Conqueror is a rune, all right. And they have a lot of champions that love healing up and love getting that 20% HP back to 100 reset. So you know what that means for Hyperion? They need to buy heal cut early this game, and it has to be on multiple members. You can't wait until you're grouped to buy heal cut. You need to buy it almost first base in this game with how much healing this team has. But yeah, Colonel, I have some insider information. I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. And, you know, sometimes you find out some secrets about draft tech from teams that, you know, get leaked.
But regardless, Dracana starting off to a great start in the mid lane. Silas not able to farm in that range versus melee matchup. I do want to point out that both junglers did start on the bottom side, so we will find a fight for the top side scuttle. So take a look at that top lane matchup to see who gets priority before the 3-minute mark.
Indeed, Colonel, but it looks like both of the junglers are doing 3 camps into bot side fighting, so we're about to see some chaos here.
Wow. Ooh, that said is almost landing. It does go just a little bit wide. Now Zhao's here. Now the Zenith Blade coming in. They're flashing forward. That's already so much damage. The Ignite coming down, but Zuko is able to escape, but he may have left to dry. Low 5 Foot Fetish. Oh, the flash and the heal to keep him alive. Attila coming up where it matters to keep his support alive, and now it will be no one falling for that fight.
It will be no one falling, but now both junglers haven't touched their topside camps as Scuttle spawns, and I'm not really sure. I'm not the best jungler in the world by any means, but this is just such a strange collision of 2 teams in the bottom so early in the game. It's almost like they were trash talking pregame and said, meet me bot side at 2:30 and let's fight to the death. And at the end of the day, even though more flashes get burned from Hyperion, I think Diana has huge tempo here to potentially walk into Xin Zhao's jungle, but he does have the angle to gank here, Colonel.
This is a great gank opportunity. He just used pick a card. He does not have the stun card, so Dracana has a flash away, looking to get to his jungler in time. The Ignite comes down, and now his jungler has arrived, but Darkfire is continuing to go. Now a gold card coming in. That's a stun. A lot of damage coming out. Zuko, can he continue to fight? But he's going to E away to try and dodge for the damage, but that's so much coming out of Corrito! First blood in the mid lane. Oh, trying to trade back. That's a lot of damage. Oh, Dracana trades it back. Corrito didn't expect that one, neither did I, but it actually ends up being a 1-for-1 at the end of the day.
And more chaos in the early game, Colonel. These teams are fighting non-stop, and it looks like Darkfire, once more, he's coming back in.
Uh-oh. He's trying to find it. He gets the W. That's a big, audacious charge, but the stun is perfect. Dracana actually will live to see another day and get his back off.
And there's more action, Colonel. I can't even open my mouth as Spheric lands the Zenith Blade. But as I was trying to say in the first place, see, now we're 5 minutes into the game, and these junglers still haven't taken their first buff topside as they both start hitting them now. And a lot of action, a lot of fighting. And at the end of the day, I guess if one falls behind, but the other sacrifices just the same amount, it ends up being pretty even. But again, Colonel, an absolute wild start from these 2 junglers trying to fight early.
Absolutely. So many summoner spells burned, which means after these honestly, pretty potato early clears. They'll have a field day in whatever lane they go to, other than the top side. Of course, the island stays an island, but everywhere else, they have a lot of summoner spells. And as I say that, an island no longer. It looks like Zuko's going to be trying to make a play up here.
He is, but Darkfire's on the way as well.
Squig just barely not getting hit by that W. It looks like Darkfire is unable to continue because of it. Zuko is here to protect, but unfortunately, there will be no more gank to be had because of Wind Becomes Lightning missing, not able to get that charge off. Oh, flashing forward, using the Q, and the Face Breaker will not land. Sorry, the Haymaker not getting the damage there, but looks like another flash burned. It looks like every single lane has lost summoner spells.
Yeah, and I've never seen two teams go at it this hard. In the early game, is we get a nice fancy new XP graph coming up from our favorite producer ever, Exernian, and as we see here, it looks like maybe a little more plays have been made by the side of Flippa United getting around the map more, as their solo laners have just been in lane for a little longer, and it seems like it's slight, but Flippa have been forcing the issue a little more here early.
Absolutely, just a little bit low on XP, but Love It Foot Fetish is going to be taken in by a gank, but the Death Sentence is going to land, and now the Destiny gank coming out. That's going to be another kill going on Dracana. Silas will trade it back instantly, but Kurito trying to find the boss cone is going to get hit by Attila, actually, but flashing forward to get the kill. Now he sort of is stuck between a rock and a hard place, or a dragon place, but his team is rotating around to save it, and that will be a kill advantage to Hyperion.
It will be a kill at the end of the day, and it was all Xin Zhao overstaying in the jungle here. This Xin Zhao early Darkfire has been trying to do so much, as there is a little bit of skirmishing, Colonel.
A lot of damage coming onto Riv. He's going to have to eat over the wall, but Dracana is taking a lot of damage from Spheric, and they're actually going to almost trade support for mid laner, but Zuko's going in, he's flashing forward! What a great play! Double kill going over to the Diana, and now Darkfire has come back just to die again. Smiting for the HP, Silas has arrived, but his E does not land. Abduct not going to find the stun. Darkfire able to escape so far. Now Zuko's turn to try and run. Kurito doing a lot of damage. Death Sentence over the wall to save him. Now the stun card coming in. Kurito will have to back up, doing a lot of damage back onto him. And now Hyperion very clearly in the driver's seat. Darkfire goes back in, but he will not be able to find anything more.
Wow, and at the end of the day, Colonel, Hyperion get absolutely everything there, as the damage early just seems to be too much for Flippa United. They're going in a little too staggered. It's Xin Zhao jumping in first, and then Silas waiting a little too long to jump in after him, and it seems like early on, Flippa have not been able to find their footing in this game, and they need to get their timings right to find themselves back into it.
Absolutely, and now if we take a look at the gold really quickly, as Ridley had some, the player gold, if we could take a look at it, Dracana and Zuko seem to be the biggest oh no, hold that thought, Attila! Oh, what are you doing? He's taking so much damage, Riv's gonna find that kill. We'll look at the gold in a second, but that is a great gank from Darkfire as he's able to find yet another kill, and there's a death fight in the top side as the Darkened Blade's gonna find his mark, and that's the Q3 into the kill for Ridley Prime.
And again, Colonel, there's just so much action. The Aatrox finally being able to find that window in the counter matchup at the end of the draft, picking up the Aatrox and absolutely decimating Squig in the first kill. And now that they're post 8, I expect that to be the case. We see no heal cut out from Squig yet. And that may cost him until he gets either that Executioners or that Bramble Vest down, because his Aatrox is going to be able to start taking over this lane. But as you were saying about the gold, Colonel, a lot of this gold early is on the mid-jungle duo of Hyperion, and it's just looking like it isn't growing into anything huge yet, but still, a 600-700 gold lead individually early goes a long way.
Absolutely, 2-0-3 on this AD Twisted Fate. He has himself a Noon Quiver in his inventory, and I'm so excited to see how he progresses into the game, because if you always think about Twisted Fate, is always about the playmaking. It's about using that Destiny Gate to get yourself in other lanes and make action happen. But when that action happens around a Twisted Fate who's already so strong, it's going to be all the more potent.
It absolutely is. And Colonel, just to point out in the inventory, the Noon Quiver, the Kraken Slayer, finished from this Twisted Fate. I knew it. And I was going to say I can't believe my eyes, but at the end of the day, I guess I called it at the beginning of draft, so I can believe my eyes. And let me tell you, I'm not sure about this technology, Colonel, but nonetheless, I am so excited to see what he does on it.
Absolutely. Finally finishing that new quiver like I had said earlier. And now, if you take a look at the rest of the items, his jungler is the only other person in the game to have their mythic completed. Talked about that mid-jungle duo, and now they are very much on a spike. They have more power than anybody else in the map.
I think Darkfire might be dead here, Colonel. This is really dangerous for him. He can't get
Oh
caught here.
no, what is he doing? Uh-oh. The Q does not land from Zuko, so he will not have the dash reset, but that's the Destiny Gate coming in from Jakana. The stun card is going to go in. Darkfire is going low already, and Squig with the downtown. Showstopper is going to stop his show, and now Fire and Zuko is going to try and escape, but Shutdown going over to the Aatrox. Aatrox with the double kill. He's trying to play it out. He's doing so much, but the Dragon Blade will find his mark. Triple kill going over to Ridley.
And Ridley 1v9 absolutely bailing out Darkfire, as he definitely could not be doing that Rift Herald alone. Let's see what happens here, Colonel. Zuko finds out that Darkfire is doing something he couldn't, but he misses the Q, and then Darkfire gets some time to run. And as he's starting to run up, the Destiny Gate comes in, Dracana gets the stun off, but again, there's no heal cut, there's no way to stop Ridley Prime, and a little bit of an early face breaker from Squig puts them in a really tough position as they lose their frontliner, and as soon as they lose set, Aatrox absolutely gets to go ham on the backline.
Now already a 400 gold bounty over his head and a 10 CS advantage, so he is very much off to the races. Has himself the Gordreaker completed, now the third mythic item in this game, and with the Drake spawning in 15 seconds and his TP almost coming back up, we may see a fight in the bot side.
And Colonel saying may see a fight, it might be a little bit of an understatement. There's no chance we don't see a fight. There's been so much fighting. We have 13 kills in 12 minutes, and these teams are absolutely being savage and going at each other here. So I expect as Lo-Fi Fetish finds out that they're on the Drake, we're going to see another fight.
Really Prime doing a lot of damage. Squig taken down really low, and now he does not have the TP, but he will not be able to help. The Death Sentence goes wide on the bottom side. Now the TP's coming in, just like we talked about. Ridley Prime will be arriving. He's not going to be rooted, and now he's going to have a free reign as the Diana coming in with the Moonfall, doing a lot of damage. Now they're trying to trade it back, where Ridley Prime is doing so much work. He's going to find one. Can he continue to find a second? He will onto Attila as the rest of the team fight gets cleaned up, and Flippa off to the races.
And it is devastation, Colonel. If you know your top laner does not have TP, you cannot contest this objective. But I did say it before. We were going to see a fight over this. Now, they step in a little too far forward. If Lo-Fi Fetish finds the hook, maybe it'll look a little different, but he does not find the hook, having to flash out, and now Ridley Prime gets to go in on 4 as the rest of the team joins him. A huge ultimate from the Diana, trying to save the fight, but you're fighting around a Jinx who doesn't even have Mythic yet. So you take the fight way too early, and you get absolutely punished from it, and now Flippa have the reins.
And also evening up that Drake total. Ooh, as there's going to be even a plate falling in the mid side as well. Zuko could potentially be looking for a play here, but Corito is already out. And Spheric is in the mid lane to help protect, as it looks like they might potentially be setting up for take 2 on this top lane Rift Herald.
They are, and I think Darkfire is going to be able to get away with it this time with the roam, but I think that though he got bailed out there, and I think that for the rest of the game it's been good, it's just so risky going for those early objectives. And Colonel, important to point out that it took Hyperion 14 minutes to get that Bramble Vest for set. So their first heal cut has come through at 14 minutes. And I think it's just so dangerous for them there as Zuko's
Solar Flare coming in onto Zuko, and that's so much damage, and I was going to use a Moonfall dash to get away, but Ridley, he has that Q ready on cooldown, but he's going to miss the one. Now Squig is here. He's going to use the Facebreaker to try and keep his jungler alive, using that Facebreaker for the flash, trying to keep himself alive. He's doing so much work, but the damage is definitely going to come through. Ridley Prime will get that kill after a couple turret shots. Now Jakana, what are you doing here? He's going to get rooted up. He's going to get Zenith Blade. He's going to get locked down. Corito will find himself the kill, and that is not what you want to see out of your Twisted Fate.
It isn't what you want to see, and if you're going to blind set and the Aatrox is going to look this good as well, it is just devastating.
You cannot stay there. Zuko was unable to get away, and that's yet another kill, and the snowball continues to go.
And Colonel, I'm an optimist. I'm a big believer. And I never want to give up, especially when I'm playing comp. I hate when people give up. But in my head, man, this game is GG next. Ridley Prime has taken over the top side here, and it is absolutely devastating for Hyperion, already down 5,000 gold. And Colonel, if you want to find a way back into this game, how do you do it?
Well, first is on the itemization. I want every other member on my team having that. We can check out, wow, the CS per minute is telling an important story because Riv, although he's been quiet, is second on that CS per minute. Behind, of course, Ridley, who's been having his free roam on the top side. But honestly, it starts with getting some heal cut, and then it starts to be making plays around your strong members. Baz, this Solar Flare is going to come in on the mid lane. That's going to be a great gank. And Tracana, just when I'm starting to talk about him, will fall yet again. But that's a player that you would be wanting to play around.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a player you would be wanting to play around, having him find those picks with the ultimates in the side lane even, but I guess the side lane threat is just too powerful right now. I think both Sylas and Aatrox are really, really hard to pick out unless you send more than 2 members, like 3 or 4. So it really is a scary bleed-out situation here, Colonel. I think the way that this team gets back into the game is if Aatrox and Sylas go into the side lane, you try to take a 3v3 or a 4v4 mid where the map is still sort of even, and hope that's your way back into the game. But with Drake coming up very, very soon, a minute 20, it looks like it's all Flippa in the bot side here trying to find the pressure they need to get this dragon.
Uh-oh, Attila is alone. Lo-Fi Foot Fetish is trying to find his way here, but Carito is going to flash forward straight into the showstopper. Attila has nowhere to run, and he's going to instantly die. So well coordinated from Flippa. That was a beautiful play to watch, and they will go 16 kills up.
They will go 16-6 on the scoreboard indeed, Colonel, and it looks like bot tower, to boot. And if we look at the gold crap, oh no, the early lead from Hyperion has been demolished into almost nothing.
Yeah, and now 35 seconds into the next Drake, and I don't want Hyperion to be fighting there, but they may have the envelope pushed on them as the Infernal Change will find Lo-Fi Foot Fetish straight into the Solar Flare. So much CC, and he will fall instantly. The Thresh will fall once again, and that was 15 seconds until the Drake. I'm not sure if they're able to contest.
And I hope they don't try, Colonel, because at the same time, we see so many teams not willing to give up objectives when they should, and they really should at this point. But luckily, I think that Hyperion aren't going to be giving up that dragon. Are going to be giving up that dragon as it's a free Drake going over to Flippa. But again, you have to wait another 5 minutes before the next objective spawns and see what you can find here, because I just don't see a way back in the game right now.
Yeah, Zuko barely getting out with just barely his Raptors. So, hate to see it, but they're trying to pull for scraps. Twisted Fate is going to be in the top side, trying to get as much gold as he can. And those are the 2 members that were strong earlier in the game, trying to get gold under their belts. And unfortunately, although we expected their game plan to be played at his bot side, Hyperion haven't been able to give Attila much of anything. He has been focused down a couple times by Flippa, and hasn't really been able to get the same help from his own team.
He really hasn't, and I also think that's partially because Dracana is going for this DPS heavy build, as well as Diana and Set being more of that carry type champion, where I don't feel like there's enough peel in this comp to supplement a Jinx. I feel like it's really hard for her to play the game, as it looks like Ridley Prime might have another catch.
Infernal Change will pull Squig back. We'll see if the next Q lands. That's a Solar Flare from downtown. Spheric has come to help the party. The Facebreaker will land, but Ridley Prime going legendary as he finds his 8th kill on the board.
He does, and this has been Ridley Prime domination in Game 1, Colonel, as this Aatrox is absolutely taken over in the counter matchup. And I would have liked to see an earlier heal cut again. It's just he was online omnivamping for so long, and now honestly I think when he's on 2 items it doesn't matter anymore. This champion is so far ahead that I don't even know if he needs that much healing to win the game. As it's just, you have to be wondering if you're Hyperion, if you can't opt for this much scaling in the game bot side if you aren't willing to play around it.
Yeah, absolutely. Twig just completing for himself the Stride Breaker, so we'll see if that can help them in the fights, but Squig hasn't been having the most success himself. 1 in 4 down a massive chunk of CS, about 25 below, right before Ridley gets that red buff. Oh, we didn't see it, Ridley. We didn't see it. He'll take the second dash. But now pushing into the mid lane, and Attila cannot even stay for his tower. His mid lane tower is sure to fall, and Baron is very much in control of Flippa.
It is, and honestly, a lot of teams we see shy away from it, so they might take a mid tower, maybe look for 1 or 2 picks before they go for this Baron, but I don't even know if Hyperion can form a contest. It's really hard for them to get in. They'd have to find an absolutely nasty Moonlight, followed by maybe even a TF card onto the important carry to make it so that they don't even get to play the game, but really maybe caught on the bot side, Colonel.
This is exactly what you need. Shutdown coming over to Twisted Fate. The Super Mega Death Rocket from downtown helping it out. And unfortunately not able to get any more, but getting a good amount of gold onto this ADTF who needs it as, check out the inventories. We have 2 Executioners built by both carries, so finally starting to get some more than Bramble Vest heal cut.
Absolutely, Colonel. And just when you thought this Aatrox was indestructible, he finds himself picked in the... There's another pick.
Trying to escape with the Destiny Gate, but right next to him, that was a bit of a mechanical misplay, and now he's going to be using the Zona, but he will go shut down. Yet another shutdown going over to Dracana. He's being gifted the gold lead necessary to try and come back into this game. Now Swig is in the back line. Blascone will escape, but the Moonfall onto 3, and now Darkfire has to try and escape using the Crescent Guard to try and some damage, but wow, Riv with a lot of damage with those Mystic Shots. Shut down. Another shutdown to Twisted Fate. Another one. Twisted Fate gifted the whole bank at this point. He's got gold to spare. Now Ridley trying to trade back Dracana. He's getting the heal, but the World Ender shutting him down. Twisted Fate will fall. Now Ridley Prime, he is rapid in that cloud map as the damage comes across. Double kill going over to the Aatrox, and now Zuko, can he escape? Might just be a formality at this point as a triple kill goes over to him. You shut him down once, sure, but Ridley Prime is here to fight.
Yeah, and Ridley Prime comes back alive just in time to clean up the end of that play, but just when you thought Flippa was almost indestructible, so many picks being found, just players out of position for too long, there's going to be a bit of a misplay here as the 3-man ultimate gets kind of stopped by Squig, pulling Darkfire out of all that damage, but nonetheless, it seems that Jinx arrives in time to clean up this play, but again, Attila oversteps here and goes really, really deep to try to get more damage down onto Riv, and it gives Ridley all the room he needs to clean up. And just when you thought the game was done and dusted, though, there are signs of life from Hyperion. Even though they do lose the Baron, there's a lot of gold on that Twisted Fate.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is even in the CS. You can see he has his second completed item as a TP is coming down, going to try and secure this 3rd Drake for themselves. That would put themselves on Drake point, but they may potentially be looking for a pick instead. Zuko checks it and is spotted. All of them are revealed with that, but they will give over the Cloud Soul. I don't know why they're coming in to contest this. They use 2 controllers to try and spot it out, but the Drake goes nonetheless.
Yeah, and I mean, they seem a little desperate at this point, trying to contest for an objective. Luckily, because no kills get traded over on either side, I think it gives their comp a little more time, because I think that's what Hyperion needs. They just need a little bit of time. They are playing 2 80 base champions that really do rely on items for most of their damage, and in the next 5 minutes, if you can potentially get 1 or 2... one more item on each carry, then maybe you have a fighting chance around next Drake. So we need to see what Hyperion do here in the next 5 minutes.
Absolutely, and all eyes are going to be on Dracana. He has been gifted so much gold in that extended fight top jungle. So if there's going to be a comeback story, if there's going to be a fight around this next Drake that Hyperion ends up winning, a lot of it's going to come on him, because look at that gold. Flippa is just so way and away ahead, and now they will be trying to just to defend their own side as the Baron push starts to come in. Ooh, Solar Flare coming in straight into the Zenith Blade. Low by Foot Fetish may be caught out here using the box, but he's not going to be able to escape. Knocked up by the Xin Zhao, and now that will be a pick secured and nothing else to be lost for Flippa. They get out scot-free, and now they continue to siege on the mid lane tier 2.
They do, and I think this might spell Inhibitor. Eventually, they are a man up, and I think it's really scary if you're Hyperion staying under tower here, but it looks like they really want the hold, and we're about to see a fight. Spheric is walking forward, looking for more, and the siege continues from Flippa.
Credo does have Moonfall now, so he's able to offer a great secondary engage. He can also combo that with his E really effectively to get onto these backline carries. Remember, the carries are not very mobile. You are not going up against the likes of an Ezreal. You're up against Jinx and Twisted Fate. They don't really have anything to escape an engage like that. So Credo, with a very, very thought out idea of what ultimates to use, and now trying just to walk into their own jungle, but losing absolutely everything for Hyperion.
They are losing everything, and the bleed starts to get a little worse, but something that Flippa is doing is they're grouping up as 5 a lot more often than we see a lot of other teams do, as I say that, Ridley, of course, isolated, but they're grouping up so much, and I don't think Hyperion are ever safe to take a 5v5 here. So I think it's just really scary from Hyperion. And the next time that Aatrox pushes in this wave, they have to look to make a play because the window is just getting smaller and smaller, Colonel.
We're getting so close, 400 gold away from eclipsing a 10k gold deficit for Hyperion. And now actually finding themselves a pick Dracana with the Destiny game. Beautiful to get a shutdown, yet another shutdown onto Riv this time around. 600 gold into his pocket. And wow, Dracana making so many plays to get his team into the game. Unfortunately, there are no big objectives to get. But check out that gold. He is not far behind Ridley Prime.
He isn't, and even though Ridley Prime's scoreline is 11-1, all of TF's kills, or at least the majority, have been shut down. So with that and his passive being able to amp out that much extra gold, it just gives him so many options as...
Oh no! He's not able to take the lantern. Corrido stood straight on top of it, so he wasn't able to get it. But unfortunately for Corrido, was not able to get a flash and heal burn from the side of the Jinx. But Corrido almost finding himself that solo kill.
Yeah, and I think Corrido standing on top of the lantern combined with Jinx not being able to find the press just had to make her burn her flash. That was almost really, really scary for the side of Hyperion, as it's a very interesting and weird situation from Flippa here. They are up so much gold, but their comp just doesn't have the sieging tools they need. Xin Zhao's an all-in champion. Sylas is a melee champion. Their range carry is Ezreal, and when you have this many close-range carries and champions that can't really auto turrets freely, they're gonna have to wait all the way until next Baron to make a play, and because of all that time they've had to wait, Twisted Fate's almost on a 4th item as well, and when you have a carry that is that powerful, anything can happen at this point around this next Drake fight, potentially.
Yep, trying their luck again at the same bush. Remind me later, I'll have to ask you about Twisted Fate build, because I don't know what AD builds, but Lo-Fi Foot Fetish almost falling for the trap, but avoiding it. Now the Soulfire coming in, they will find their catch onto Lo-Fi Foot Fetish, but the rest of the team is not going there. The rest of the team is looking to the rest of the fight, and that's a big face breaker onto 3, but he's not able to get the W in. Moonfall will come down. That W could have been the damage they needed, but instead, they just cannot kill anybody. Dracana will fall. Attila is just peppering them as Zuko looks like he is next on the chopping block. That is 4 quick kills going over to Flippa, and that could be game 1.
And Colonel, with the wave that they have and timers being 20 to 30 seconds, I don't think Attila can hold this alone, and I think Attila is going to get dove here, even if he tries to stay. So honestly, looking for the opening they were, but finally finding their way in to kill all of Hyperion.
Disgusting. The Infernal Train's barely landing, and Sylas will find himself to kill him. With that ace, that will be game 1 going over to Flippa.
It absolutely will, Colonel, as they demolish after one early play doesn't go their way. The Nexus explodes, and they just, once they started snowballing, Colonel, they kept going.
Absolutely. Really well done by Flippa, who has been on a tear so far these playoffs. This would be an incredible storyline to watch if they could take on the 2nd seed and 1st seed back-to-back and beat both. And with that game, that was awesome. But wow, a lot of damage from Twisted Fate. Dracana really tried hard to fight in that game.
He really did, and you know, I talked lowly of this ADTF build, and I mean, If there was any bright spot game 1 from Hyperion, it definitely was that ADTF. I thought that that was really impressive seeing him throw out those cards, deal a ton of damage with those Kraken autos, and he showed out even though his team fell short. Now, if you're Hyperion going into game 2, how do you change draft?
That's a big question. I think the Diana didn't seem to get as big. We saw her get a lead and she wasn't able to translate that. And whether that be a game situation thing or it be piloting the champ thing, I feel like putting your jungler on something that can snowball is a big priority for them. Or if you're not going to be able to do that, make sure that snowball happens onto one of your important carries. If all those plays happen around the Jinx, I feel like Hyperion would have had a much better time trying to get themselves back into that game.
I think so as well, but on that same token, if you aren't going to make those plays around the Jinx, you just can't lock in that champion. You need to play something that's a little more flexible in strategy. Maybe something like an Ashe, maybe something like the Ezreal that Flippa had, something more blindable, something more flexible, because seeing how they committed to the Jinx game 1, yeah, there will be games where Jinx will get away with scaling forever and carrying the game, but if you aren't going to focus that bot side, maybe another pick is the option as well.
Absolutely. We will be taking a quick break before we get into draft of game 2 of Flippa United versus Hyperion Origin. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
step on the land. I've got your hand, and now we're way down, fade out low. Was it your plan? Can't understand. I love the air you bring, everything. Under the sun, a fire is burning. You tell me to hold on tight. I wish that we could stay here forever. I wanna remember. Oh, the sight of you brings the fight in me, makes
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Game 2 of Hyperion Origin versus Flippa United. This is the Game 1 draft. The Game 2 draft will be on shortly, but Hyperion Origin did choose to stay on blue side, which is pretty interesting considering how strong Flippa looked on the red. Their first 2 picks were very meta-defining champions, so I would like to see some differences in draft, but so far, a lot of the same. But that Silas and Aatrox off the table for Hyperion, it seems like Flippa very comfortable with what they did in Game 1.
Yeah, and taking away what was so strong for them in Game 1 is a really important recipe to that, because again, at the end of the day, a lot of the bans in Game 1 are all comfort bans. I think, Colonel, though, the reason that Hyperion Origin are taking blue side is they understand that their draft was too greedy. And I think here's to us seeing more power picks and more safety and more flexible options being picked from them in this game.
Yeah, very much hope so. And I love the respect there from Flippa, knowing that they might be looking to try and take away that Xin Zhao. But so banning it out so that it's not first pickable for the side of Hyperion, so they have to go back to that Diana.
And I mean, if that's what's comfortable for them, Colonel, that's what's comfortable for them. I thought that Diana looked really good in Game 1. It found a lot of huge ultimates, and let's see how Zuko can perform on it again in Game 2.
Yep, this time in the jungle matchup, because that Xin Zhao's off the board, looks like they will be defaulting back to the Hecarim. We did see that last week in their win against VBU. And then locking in the Mordekaiser, that was one of the bans that Hyperion has changed from Game 1 to Game 2.
Yeah, I didn't notice what the comfort bans were in Game 1, but now that I know it's Mordekaiser, unless Hyperion have this Volibear top pick super prepped and super ready to take on this Mordekaiser, with that maybe being the case, maybe it's okay, but I think Mordekaiser is just such a scary champion to have in the isolated 1v1.
Especially after we saw just how dominant that Ridley Prime could be up in the top side. Now, checking out that last pick, thank you, getting that Ezreal for themselves. He's so strong, even after the Sunder changes, he just feels so incredibly oppressive, can spike early into the mid game and then be strong all the way through to the late.
Absolutely, Colonel, and with those nerfs, he does become a little less overpowered in God tier, but nonetheless, this champion is just such a safe and comfortable blind for these teams, and you never have to show too much when you pick Ezreal because you have so many options. Now, Flippa United going Victor R3, and I fully expect them to ban away those counters from that Victor to shield this control mage pick.
Absolutely, and first off the table is that Twisted Fate that we saw in Game 1. They feel it was as big of a problem as it looked like from the outside looking in, as it looks like potentially support bans for the side of Hyperion, as it might be Ziggs next up.
Yeah, and taking away the Ziggs is really important. I think this champion still is very powerful. We see teams pick it less often, but I know if there's one person in this world who will pick Ziggs, it'd be Dracana, but Morgana, also a Dracana champion, and with Spheric up as well, there was a lot of options for that Morgana, but nonetheless, Tristana being showed for Flippa, and I think they might as well lock it in.
I wouldn't be surprised. The Varus is a very strong current meta champion, but every time you talk about Riv, you talk about that Tristana, you talk about that Caitlyn, and there it goes, locking it in the bottom side. So leaving that support to last pick, they will have R5 counter, and now the onus is on Hyperion to try and throw in a curveball.
I think that curveball may be Zillion. Let me tell you a little something about Dracana. Back in the day, almost 2 years ago, I was playing in Gold Competitive with this man, and his Zillion is kind of insane. I'm not gonna lie, it's one of his highest mastery champions. He hasn't played it much this season, but nonetheless, this is definitely a Dracana power pick.
And we saw how powerful Dracana was last game. If you're looking to who's going to carry on Hyperion, you're definitely looking to that man. And then locking in the Galio, of course, Zillion and Galio can be flex in support or mid. I would agree with you that I have to expect Zillion to be in the mid lane. So that would be an Ezreal Galio bot lane into Tristana and potentially Thresh or Braum.
I think Thresh might be the better choice here. I think you should know that this is Galio's support deep down, and there's so many different hovers, Colonel. They finally lock in the Thresh. I think that that's just the right pick for them because the Galio does prevent a lot of all-ins. But Thresh can look from range as always, and I mean a much different look from both teams in game 2. We see no big, not a much different look I would say, but we see no huge commitments into late game scaling from either side. It looks like there's a little more aggression coming out from both, and with that said, I think we're going to see a bloody game again in game 2.
Alright, so I'm looking at these team compositions, and let me know what your thoughts are. I'm a little bit worried for Hyperion because either this Ezreal gets off the ground early or Diana gets off to the races, but other than that, maybe lacking on a little bit of damage for Hyperion. What do you think?
Now it's close, Colonel, because if Diana gets a huge lead early, it's amazing. This Volibear should go Sunder instead of full tank, so if Volibear gets a huge lead early, I think this champion explodes HP bar as though it is only one target. And Ezreal, again, another champion that if they get ahead, they just become so oppressive in the game, and with 3 champions that can take big leads and run with them, I'm going to say that if Hyperion don't have enough damage in this game, it's because they failed to accomplish what their comp wanted to do. So I don't think it's not enough damage. I think that it's whether or not these champions can get ahead early.
That's a great point. On the side of Flippa, as we go into picks and bans, I think, honestly, they're fully in the comfort zone. A lot of champions that we've seen them pick before, the Hecarim, the Mord, the Tristana, all very much in their comfort zone.
Yeah, and even all of these champions are in their comfort zone as well. They have so much aggression out of this draft. Hecarim is such an early game champion. Tristana Thresh is such a power pick bottom. Mordekaiser is solo kill kingdom as soon as that clock ticks level 6, and Victor is a scaling option, but he does have a free lane. So with all of these picks for Flippa United, I think that they are going to make it really hard for Hyperion to get that early game lead. I was saying earlier that if any of these champions get ahead, they should be able to take over the game with all of the support that they have. But from the side of Flippa, they have so many early game threats that I wonder where those advantages are going to be found if they are found from Hyperion.
All right, so thoughts on both sides. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's winning game 2?
I think Flippa looked really good in game 1. I think Hyperion have the draft looking so much better than they did last game, but with all that said, we got Riv 60 on that Tristana. We have so much early game pressure from Flippa. I think it's going to be too much for Hyperion to handle. If there's any signs of life, it's going to be from that Zillion Diana mid-jungle duo, because both of those players have been playing well this series, but my vote's on Flippa.
All right, you heard the man. Hyperion, you got to prove him wrong going into game 2. We will be taking a quick break before we load onto the Rift. Stay tuned.
Fill me out with your smile. Like the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. I'm safe and sound. I'm safe and sound. I'm safe and sound. I'm safe
We are back going into game 2 of Flippa United versus Hyperion Origin. I am Colonel Paul. It's going to talk me through it. So we have ourselves an incredible game 2. Hyperion has to come back from that big loss game 1.
They are, and Colonel, there's a lot to talk about here, as a lot of the winning or losing from each team in the early skirmish depends on who arrives first and what timers and what HP bars, where all the HP bars are at when the fights start happening, because you would think that Hakram Victor win the 2v2 very hard, but if Dracana's level 6, maybe that's not the case. Maybe the R saves the day, but maybe Dracana doesn't get there in time, or maybe Dracana misplaces R and the fight's completely losing for them. And it goes that way for almost every lane situation here besides topside, where it really just depends on what the engage tools and what important summoners are found when they start fighting.
Absolutely. I do want to point out that both Dracana and Attila are starting with the tier. Dracana has already won the video game because he has 12 stacks of tier before the game has really begun. But that will be important for Diana to remember, because her laners aren't going to have that much early lane power, especially for those Scuttle Crab fights.
They are, and that does mean that Diana should path away from the bot side of the map, because with, again, a tier on Ezreal and a tier on Zillion, as you were saying, there's just not a lot of fighting power until they get their first base off, and now once they get their first base off, that situation changes a little, but we are seeing Darkfire clear from top to bottom, and Diana path away from him, so we're seeing a bit of uninteractive jungle gameplay in this game too early on.
Yep, that does mean Diana will be heading towards the top side, which is probably a good sign considering Volibear is the only laner that she has that has those stronger Doran's starting items. So good for her, but Hecarim is going to be clearing onto the bot side. He wants to get Riv ahead. As the Death Sentence is going to land, that's going to be a lot of damage onto Lo-Fi Foot Fetish. The charge shot does a lot of damage, but they aren't able to find the kill.
And again, I think it comes down to what we didn't get to see on screen, but there was a level advantage there, and it seems that Attila and Lo-Fi were playing way too aggressively on that wave wait, Diana's back again, bot lane, without clearing her topside jungle. Oh no!
Again, she has to make this work. They're getting the flash out for Lo-Fi Foot Fetish with that charge, but she's not going to find the Q. That's an important one. She doesn't get the vision, and now Zuko will be taking a lot of damage. That charge shot will tick down. But now Hecarim, he has a lot of tempo advantage in that jungle.
He does, and this is what I was talking about last game that we didn't see happen. Because both players skirmished bot side, both of their advantage, no one was able to create an advantage. It was just a 3v3 fight. But now, Diana has so far to walk to get to her topside jungle, as the Hecarim is level 4, the highest level in the game, and Zuko just ticks level 3. He's so far behind. He's 3 camps behind, and maybe even more now. It's so risky going for that bot side play. And when it works out, it's fantastic. If you find that angle, it's fantastic. But it's cost him here, and now Darkfire gets to gank bottom.
It's his turn to look for the kill. Flashing forward! Didn't realize that the flash was the summoner spell of choice, but the Death Sentence does land, and the Death Sentence name is true. First blood, going over to Hecarim.
And I didn't notice that Hecarim took flash, and it pays off there, but it was a surprise to see opting out of that ghost. I have a very strong opinion on this topic, but I will keep my mouth shut there, Colonel. A good gank nonetheless for the first blood going over to Darkfire. I'm so excited to see what he can do with this Sheen early on, being able to absolutely explode HP bars before anybody can get their base off.
Absolutely, and remember, just like we talked about before, he will be ganking who carries with tiers. So not only does he have so much more early game power, but the people he's ganking don't exactly have power of their own.
Exactly, Colonel, and even though Volibear definitely wins this matchup topside early into Mordekaiser, because of this early Sheen, he can also look top now and maybe get Mordekaiser snowballing. It looks like at the end of the day, Darkfire is opting into another full clear from top to bottom here, maybe trying to rush 6 with his advantage. Either way, I hope to see more action from this Hecarim and this early first blood.
And a lot of that action we expect to be on the bottom side of the map. We saw them do it last week, and very much expected to do it again. That Riv is this team's carry. They love putting resources into him because he's so consistently rewards them for that endeavor. Now, Hecarim is actually able to invade. Now, Diana, if she didn't have many camps before, she's about to lose even more.
And Darkfire didn't back for Sweeper here when he goes to invade, so now that Hyperion know he's on a ward, he may as well be dead here, Colonel.
They have to land DC. Unfortunately, Dracana doesn't have the mana, so he's not going to be looking for that double bomb to stun him up. Darkfire gets away with murder, to be honest.
Yeah, and honestly, this is a really important PSA for junglers here. If you are playing the jungle role, you have to buy Sweeper in your first back, especially if you're looking to invade. Because if Darkfire is able to clear out that ward, Zilean is not going to make that roam that aggressively. Zilean is not going to make that roam on time. Maybe he thinks that he cleared the ward and left. Nonetheless, he's walking into fog, but because he has precise information as the double bomb falls, nothing to come of it. But because Dracana has that precise information, Darkfire is able to be punished here, but nonetheless, he takes 6. Azuko's still 4, but...
Whoa, that was so much damage. Pakrito barely able to escape with the flash. Now, Darkfire, we'll see if he wants to try his luck here. Dracana using that time in a bottle to sort of help Zuko out in that XP department, as he will help him get up to level 5.
He will, but again, no words from Attila and low by foot finish, Colonel. This is another big gank.
Coming in with the ultimate already level 6, enforcing out some cooldowns, but unable to find anything there. Not really using that too effectively. Now flashing forward is a Volibear. He's looking to turn off the tower. The Demolish coming out to try and trade back some damage. Volibear very close to getting that kill, but using the flash and the ultimate, Ridley Prime still has a flash of his own. But now the Drake is going to be started, and it looks like Flippa want to fight for Spheric, and Riv are posturing aggressively. They're going to be bursting this Drake down. Is up down to 2,000. Now Darkfire charging in with a devastating charge, but he's slowed down by Dracana with that time warp, and now the Death Sentence is not going to land, and it looks like they're going to be able to get the smite. Diana will find it, and now the taunt coming in to RCC. Now they're going to have to look for the fight. They cannot escape. Corito will find the kill onto 1, and now they're stuck as fish in a barrel. Riv is going to find himself a lot of damage, and Death Sentence lands. The heal coming out. They're using so much to try and escape. Zilean finds 1 kill, but he does not have the flash. Now Zuko and Dracana have to try and play this perfectly. They will be able to walk away, but big play for Flippa.
It is, but Colonels, both teams greening out of their minds here, where Zuko's on the Drake, still level 5, doesn't have that team fighting ultimate. Attila out of mana. The only person here really able to fight is Dracana and Lo-Fi, but Lo-Fi gets popped, and once he gets popped, you have no team to fight around. You have a Diana without ultimate, and you have an Ezreal without mana, and they pay the price. Besides getting 1 kill back, it's just not the right play from them.
I don't know if I'm confused, but I feel like I've lost track of Zuko there. I saw no Diana, but that might just be me. I'll have to check back on that one in the future. But regardless,
it was the Zilean ultimate. It was a visual.
Zuko. Thank you.
There you go. No problem. It was very strange because Diana just disappeared instead of resurrected. I just visualized it happening in my head, I guess.
But that being said, a lot of people up topside. Thresh has roamed up. There is no tower dive to be made, but that's a 20 CS deficit in the topside before he picks up this wave. He'll have to pick up a lot to make it up. But this top lane push means that Darkfire can continue to counter jungle, getting so much more than this Diana is able to. If you take a look at that CS per minute, that jungle is so much higher. Take a look at that difference.
It is such a large difference. It's almost a CS per minute, meaning that he's up. I guess I can look at it and do the math. He's up only 6 or 5 at the moment, but nonetheless, I think that a bigger part of Flippa's leads at the moment are not only coming from their skirmishing, it's coming from their good skirmishes with their winning farm leads. They're winning in farm in most of their lanes, and they're winning their skirmishes, and it's creating these really big 1,500 gold leads early that, honestly, that early in the game, having even 1 more aim tome than your opponent could make the difference, and I think that's why we're seeing Flippa be so dominant in these early stages.
Absolutely. Now Darkfire able to continue to farm up as he's going to rotate his topside camps, start heading bot side, but now this is finally an opportunity to gank in the mid lane. Bazooka's not able to land that Crescent Strike,
Ezreal will be missing, but Mufo coming down. Galio trying to come in to save the day. Low 5-foot fetish with the hero's entrance will find one. Now he's actually going maybe in a little bit too deep, but he's able to be sped away from that last turret shot. And that is a successful pick for Hyperion.
It is a successful pick, and it gives them some of that gold back. Now they're going to trade back some experience on the bot side. I think that a plate will here. Not too sure. But again, they finally find the pick that they need. Corrido overstepping on this Victor and paying the price for it. And honestly, Colonel, the one thing that I'm most interested about is how much damage this Zilean is going to deal. Now, I know Zilean is not known for his damage, but his utility instead, but Dracana's really good at this champion. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's already been 4 or 5 double bombs, like, landed from this Zilean, and it makes me wonder if Zilean might be the damage source that you felt Hyperion were missing in draft.
And he is set up to do that. He's already 1-0-1, not too far down in CS. And now potentially looking for a kill on his lane opponent. Zuko has arrived. A lot of damage coming out on Dracana. And maybe that changes their mind. It will. But Dracana, he has the gold, but he has to get that buy.
He does have to get that buy. He did. And I think that the one thing I worry about as well is Diana also had in base. So even if they take the 2v2 there, I wonder if that's all they find, as we're seeing the difference between the junglers be a mythic to none as they both channel and finally get those buys off. But I wonder if they went in that Victor there without buying, if they would have been punished there. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise trying to commit onto them before buying. But nonetheless, we're seeing backs go out across the map here, trying to get that buy-in with Drake only 30 seconds left until it spawns.
And we very much expect a fight around that Drake. Would be surprised to see no fighting, as these teams have made it very clear that that is not the MO of this game. There is some vision control on the top side for Flippa, but they don't want to go for that Rift Herald. They want to prioritize evening out this Drake score. Now Thresh is trying to push them out of the river. He will flay, and that's actually the hook coming down. The box is coming in. Low 5-foot fetish has to burn his flash to escape, and now the TP comes down. It will be double TPs, one from either side, as they look to try and fight for this Drake. And right now, the river is Hyperion's to control. Ridley Prime has to walk around. He doesn't feel comfortable. He doesn't feel strong enough to look on the flank. And now Zuko looking in with the dash. He will find one. Attila will clean that up for him. Devastating charge coming into the center, but the Moonfall does so much damage! And Zuko will carry his team to a team fight win. Ridley Prime trying to trade that back. He will be able to get one kill. Can he get anything more, though? He's going to get locked up. No, he cannot. And what a beautiful fight for Hyperion.
Oh my god, Colonel, and I jumped in my chair when I saw that Moonfall fall. That was insane from Zuko. That was so 1v9. He absolutely carries a fight that I think that Hyperion have no right in winning. As you look here, Zuko starts by finding the pick onto Corrido. His team comes up to follow up, and they try to save the day, but you can't go into Diana like that, and she explodes them, and they don't even have a say in it. That is 1v9. Fire Lord Zuko, oh my lordy, and just like that, the game's in a deadlock.
Beautifully done. Finding the pick onto the member that was away from the team, and then the 4-man Moonfall onto the rest of the team. And look at that gold graph, just exactly what that fight meant for them, completely obliterating the gold lead that Flippa had and giving them one of their own. Now Riv trying to trade that back with some turret plates. He should be able to get 2. Oh no, would have gotten the second, but 14 minutes means that the turret plates are gone. And now, low 5-foot fetish, no one expects you over here. He's going to get the taunt. He's going to find a lot of damage, and that's a dead mid laner if I've ever seen one. Squig will take the kill for himself, 3-0-2, and Corrido's going to be scratching his head after that one.
He is, and that's the third time we've seen Corrido die very specifically in top brush after pushing his wave. It seems like that's a bit of a cursed brush for him, Colonel, as every time he pushes out his wave, he walks into the top mid lane brush and just dies on repeat. And with that, I think Hyperion get a Herald, and now not only are they back in the game, they look like they have all the tempo in the world.
Absolutely, and now the game is sort of paused at the moment. There's nothing to fight over, and with all those gold advantages that we just saw swap over, Flippa, although they have been the ones making plays, no longer feel capable of doing so. They do still have such a strong headroom, but with the Rift Herald being spawned in the mid lane, they're going to push in to mid lane tower, and it looks like it's Hyperion who have control of the rift.
It is Hyperion to have control of the rift, but they may have overstayed here as Darkfire
Ooh.
looks to reach Colonel.
Trying to get in, but he's taunted up by Lo-Fi Foot Fetish. Now trying to escape Zuko, who's taking a lot of damage. Shut down, going over to Ekram. Barely getting that damage across, using the flash to do so. But that is a big pick. There's nothing else for them to get along the map, but a pick nonetheless.
Oh my god, Colonel, and this all game has been a game of inches as... Oh my goodness, I thought that Zuko was going to get out alive, but there's another catch.
That's a big taunt, that's a double bomb, and that's going to be Corrido, tick, tick, boom. Dragano will find himself his second kill of the game, trading one right back. The picks go back and forth.
Yeah, and Colonel, can we talk about how 1v9 the mid-jungle duo for Hyperion has been this series, but specifically this game? The Zillion has 100% KP. Diana have found the most clutch ultimate in the most important team fight of the game so far, and how insane have these players been playing?
And on top of that, remember how doomed the level 1, level 2 pathing was for Zuko, but obviously it just doesn't matter, making it count in the plays that he's making. And I have to give a lot of credit, you're right, to this mid-jungle duo, because that's the reason Hyperion looked good going into this third Drake.
It is, but honestly, a very untalked about matchup, a very quiet game from topside this game, which is a big change of pace from game 1, and Squig has found his way to, the island, he definitely was on Survivor Island game 1, but now he's on Island Paradise game 2, and honestly, a really strong quiet game from Squig, absolutely changing the matchup after the Aatrox was banned away, and now I think even though the gold is even because of the farm advantages, that Hyperion's team fighting just has looked on point. And the most important thing to note here, though, Colonel, is a very important thing to note, that the tiers have been finished from Hyperion, and that does mean that the next items coming through for them are going to be a huge spikes in power with that Murmana and that Archangels. And that, even though the gold is even, these champions getting these scaling options in there is going to be so important for the mid to late game team fights.
Yup, and just when we're talking about that, Chakana did just complete his mythic. It will be Leandri's. So obviously looking to fill in that damage that we were talking about in draft, and doing a great job of it so far. It's 30 seconds until this Drake spawns, and we are a shoo-in for a fight.
I mean, Colonel, I think it would almost be laughable if they didn't take one here, because these teams know one way and one way only, and that is forward. But again, it seems like Hyperion are unwilling to claim the choke point here in the Drake, and it seems like Flippa have early dragon control as the dragon spawning. Fetish is stepping in very late, and he could be caught here, Colonel.
As a death sentence straight into the devastating charge, he's stunned up, locked down, shut down. Darkfire will take that kill. Now, Ridley Prime is forcing Zuko back, but that's another death sentence on the backside onto Squig. He's not able to get that flank off, and now they have the pick. But the jungler is still alive. The smite is still on the table. And the poke is coming out for the side of Hyperion. Attila with those mystic shots doing a lot of damage. The dragon has been started, but he's continuing to poke out. They're finally walking in, but that's another death sentence straight to the ultimate. Beautifully done from the hack room as Squig. He will be... Oh no! He's not able to use the Zillion ultimate. It times out. Now Corrido with a double kill, getting the shutdown for himself. Barely not being able to use that Dracona ultimate effectively. And now, they might be just dead. Oh, Riv going over the wall. He will rocket jump over to Attila, flashing forward. He's looking for the 1v1, trying to ADC better. Galio will be coming in, but he's going to get the knockup onto one. Attila still has a lot to run. Riv is low HP, but Darkfire going to get exhausted. He's not able to continue the chase. Lo-Fi Foot Fetish has the bomb ticking, but that's all they can find. But Drake secured for Flippa. Ooh!
It is.
Oh, he got a 5-1. He barely doesn't get the double, but that's a beautiful snipe from downtown with the True Shot Barrage.
Oh man, Colonel, and I think it's so crazy to see these fights going this way, and it's the hardest thing in the world to coach, but because Hyperion aren't comfortable claiming that choke point by themselves, they end up getting caught before the Drake starts, and 5v4, you just can't contest in this position. You have to claim the river better than you did. You can't have one die for river control, and they're going to cost for it here. Now they have such great discipline and target focus to let Spig's ultimate time out, and now Diana goes in way too early as well. And not only are you taking a 5v4 without your Stand United, your Hero's Entrance from Galio, you're taking a 5v4 with a 1 HP Volibear and no Zillion ulti in sight, and it just spells devastation for Hyperion. Next Drake fight, I really hope that they get to the river early and claim that vision kernel, because it feels like when they show up second to these fights, they just aren't able to claim them.
And the first substantial goal lead of the game, we saw them trading back and forth. Whoa, a lot of damage coming into Squig. That's going to be the ultimate coming out for Corito. Flashing forward to Squig, actually. They're trying to look for the play. Now using the ultimate. Corito, your health bar just disappeared. How do you feel about that one? Zuko barely not able to get there in time, and Corito will escape with his life, but he wanted that fight.
He did want that fight because he thought he had the damage to absolutely one-shot the Volibear. Now, I think that's a little over-ambitious before Victor gets onto 2 or 3 items, but hey, if you're feeling yourself, and it almost works out at the end of the day, so I don't blame him for going for it. I've done worse myself. And Colonel, if you're Hyperion, this game is... there's so much pressure around winning this game and creating the tempo. What does the winning team fight look like? Does it have to be another one of those absolutely insane Diana ultimates, or is there more for them to find?
The problem is, when we look at primary engage, Flippa just has more. Whether it be a death sentence being caught or Hecarim coming in with the Onslaught of Shadows, they have more primary engage. So Hyperion, either they're there first and they have Flippa walking in where they can be more effective with the Galio ultimate, or they have to look for something beautiful like we saw in that first team fight.
Yeah, and I think the problem is we're seeing that because they didn't get a huge lead in one of these very, very important members, that their team fighting is just really hard. And Zillion's doing a good job of bridging the gap of their champions losing some power by giving them a bonus life. But still, it just feels like Flippa have more threats and more champions, and if one person underperforms, the rest of their team picks up the slack. And that's something really important when you think about a team comp, where it feels like Flippa really can work like a team here. Even though this Hecarim is strong, I don't even feel like he needs to hit that much for their team fight to go their way. If Riv pops off, or if Ridley pops off, or if Corito pops off, where Hyperion's comp just has to be run so efficiently and so smoothly for the team fight to go their way. Now, the ceiling is higher for Hyperion, as we saw with that huge Moonlight from Zuko, but I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about these comps where you don't offer multiple threats.
Hold that thought, because Attila just finished his tier. It's already upgraded for him. That's going to be so much more damage than we saw in the last team fight. And with a minute left until this Drake spawns, that's a really, really important item breakpoint to hit before what will be a pivotal fight.
It will be Colonel, and I think that means that all eyes are on him to be the carry in this next team fight, because I think Lo-Fi Foot Fetish, I may have ulted if I were Ridley Prime. I guess I die on the way out of the Death Realm, but I feel like that was very disrespectful from Galio stepping forward. Nonetheless, I think you're right. All eyes are on Attila here. With that gold, with those 2 items, with the most farm on his team, if they're going to win a fight around this Drake, it's going to be him carrying.
Absolutely, Zillion has yet to complete his. So although he is focusing on the damage, he will be struggling just a little bit until he finds that Archangels gets that tier stacked to be able to be more aggressive and be able to posture for more of these bombs. But the Drake is just about to spawn. Now they are coming in from the bottom side. Ridley Prime is here to block the entrance. Now the Drake is starting to fall down. It's 45,000 HP. Now they're looking in. The Death Sentence is going to land. This is going to be the fight. The Hecarim coming in with the ultimate, and now they're trying to kite back. The Drake is still falling. Zuko has forward, trying to escape in the Death Realm, but the team fight is being lost around him. Now Zuko trying to look in. The moonfall is beautiful, but he cannot live long enough to get the damage. Now Hecarim with the double kill. He's going to be able to fight it. He's actually getting the triple kill. Hecarim, quadra kill! Throw it over to Darkfire. You've got to be kidding me. Give it to him, Attila, as they will find themselves a Drake. They will find themselves a team fight. And it looks like the guy Attila is not going to give it over, but what a beautiful fight for Darkfire as he pumps in the damage.
And Colonel, I almost can't believe my eyes, because all of a sudden, Hyperion were in the river for a minute before Drake spawns, and they were standing there for the whole minute. But when the Drake spawns, Flippa have control of the river, and now Hyperion are just walking in from the outside, and they just can't find a way into these fights when they don't have the position. Now Zuko finds a huge ultimate, but it just doesn't matter because all of the control is over to Flippa. And if you aren't able to hit absolutely everything in this wombo comp that you have, you're just not going to find any of those kills, and now Flippa have almost complete control of this game, Colonel.
The lead has swayed so far in their favor. Check out that gold difference. Got about 6K in the advantage of Flippa, and that game has been blown open. Check out that graph. It was so close for so long. It was at small margins for a long time, but that fight means a lot, and it also ties up the Drakes.
It does tie up the Drakes, and as good as the team fight was around Drake 2, I would expect a soul. Spirit and River are looking for more.
Death Sentence lands, now flashing away. He will not have to burn anything else, but that's a great opportunity from Spheric, and he's able to blow a summoner for it.
They are able to blow a summoner, and I think Spheric's Thresh has looked very impressive to me in these games. I think it's also gone unnoticed. I think the silent performer from the side of Flippa has been Spheric. I feel like he's hit almost every hook on Thresh, or almost every play that they've looked for. Kind of like that Squig thing I was talking about earlier, where I felt like he was having a very silent, good game early on. And I mean, he's blown another summoner, and I think that's really important in the side lane, because I do think that whoever goes onto Squig now has kill threat, as Attila might be caught in the mid lane.
Devastating Charge is buffered away with the jump from Ezreal, and really well done from Attila, because that pick would have spelt so much. 26 minutes in, that could have been Baron were he to fall.
It could be Baron indeed. I mean, I feel like teams never play around this big objective. I feel like the big lizard gets so ignored in this modern day of League of Legends. I feel like it's still so powerful, and I just am so disappointed to see what feels like teams just wait for next Drake to spawn and next Drake to spawn and next Drake to spawn until one team gets soul. I think that your team can be so much more dynamic if you start to threaten the Baron, and especially since Hyperion are a top seed, I would have loved to see this team play around his neutral better, but nonetheless, again, Flippa have all the control, but I don't know if they're going to hit the Baron, Colonel.
Instead, they will be hitting up the towers, trying to crack down as many structures as they can. It's 3 towers to 1 in Flippa's favor so far, and now claiming their stake in the top side jungle, as it's going to be really hard to walk in here as Riv just demolishes half that tower.
Riv doesn't. I mean, this champion is just dealing so much damage on 2 items right now. Absolutely ripping through these towers. But again, Colonel, hit the Baron! Hit the Baron! I'm going crazy, man! I feel like I'm a mad scientist sometimes talking about neutral objectives, as Ridley Prime's going for the solo
going into the Death Realm, and now the Death's Grasp will find it, but the ultimate coming back from Squig, trying to get as much damage, but it's just, the heal is massive from the Frenzied Maw. Squig trying his best to escape, but it just looks too little too late. The heal again is ridiculous, but I think it's just delaying the inevitable. On the side, it's going to be Riv trying to escape from that Moonfall. Zuko is ticking down. He will be revived, but the health bars are just so low from Hyperion. Now Zuko trying his best to continue, but they just fall once more. Darkfire goes godlike, and if Baron wasn't on the table before, it certainly is now.
Thank you for hitting the Baron. I mean, I know there's 3 dead, and obviously yada yada yada, but I'm happy we're seeing the purple snake fall to the ground, and the Baron buff go over to Flippa United. I think that Drake is next on the table for them as they all reset and walk bottom. And Colonel, for what we thought was a really close game, I think we just see lights out now, as we're going to get to see a quick replay of this 1v1 scrimmage. It looks so close, but I think what the difference is, oh my god, I don't think you guys noticed, but Squig presses his E in the Death Realm, and before the E lands, the Death Realm ends, and he misses out on Volibear's shield and damage, and I think that's what costs him the 1v1, which is so wild to see, because we can't really tell from the Death Realm POV, but E just disappeared in the middle of the fight. That's so tragic.
To be honest, I'm not sure if he would have won regardless, but you're right. That's such an important part of Squig's survivability, especially in the 1v1. But hold that thought, because that will be the third Drake. It will be Drake point to Flippa, and Cloud Soul is on the horizon, only 5 minutes away from that spawning.
It is, but I don't even think they're going to need to get there. I think that now that this Tristana has finished the Infinity Edge, my favorite third item in the world, if you've heard me talk ever, I mean, I could talk about it now that we're in pause, but I won't bore the audience as, I mean, we'll find out what the technical difficulty is very soon, Colonel. I think that this has been what I feel was so back and forth early has become one-sided so quickly. I don't know. What do you feel? How are you feeling?
It feels really bad because Dracana, his income just sort of stopped, and you can see the CS difference in the mid lane now, and he's still sitting on that tier. We talked almost 10 minutes ago about him trying to finish that tier item, and Dracana, he's already all the way down just the first one below the supports, which you hate to see. And oh, there it goes. Thank God the spectator bug didn't lose us the entire game, but the charge is down the mid lane. Squig will be backing, and there could be a fight looming.
There is a fight looming as the siege is non-stop from Flippa now with this Baron a minute left. Again, these teams haven't been able to find a lot off the Baron, but there's still time for them to find the play as, honestly, that was a bit of a scary bomb from Dracana. Though I guess they're just too far behind to make anything happen here. I think they're going to have to find an absolute miracle pick to get back into this game, Colonel.
Yeah, that was kind of a beautiful bomb. Although it's not, a play does not result from it. But having complete control of the map is Flippa, and now they might be finding the pick. Oh, Attila, what are you doing? Dracana might be next. Uh-oh, Darkfire, we'll say we didn't see that one. Is Dracana trying to flash away? He'll also use the barrier. But that is a successful pick nonetheless, and now they can continue the siege. 2 cannons on the bottom side tower, and Tristana is shuffling in the next wave in the mid lane, so continuing to fight, but they are not synced up, so they're not able to crack the inhibitor tower line.
Yeah, and with 10 seconds left, Colonel, they did find the kills that were needed, but they haven't found the towers, which, I mean, Hyperion, if they're going to show any signs of life, it's going to be preventing the siege from happening as Baron's over, but oh my goodness, Corrido just one-shot that guy.
Blink and you miss it.
Kill that guy for you, is what he said. Oh, man.
That's a lot of damage coming out. Now Riv over the wall doing so much work as the tower will finally fall right as that Baron power play ends. And now they can rotate bot side. The tower is low down here, and people need to reset. They will be actually TPing. It was Corrido coming back after that kill. Death Sentence will go wide, but that is one inhibitor down, and next inhibitor tower to follow. And there may be potentially a fight right here trying to defend their base before this inhibitor falls down. The stun comes in. Darkfire, very safe so far, but that's another inhibitor without a fight. Would have liked to see them try and put up a fight somewhere, but it looks like their final stand will be around their Nexus.
It will be, Colonel, but the problem with taking that fight is Zilean is dead, and what is there to find? You just don't have an all-in button without your entire wombo combo. An ideal teamfight for this team is really just Zilean speeding up Diana, and Diana running into the backline for Galio R to come down and hopefully make the play, winning. And honestly, I don't think that we've seen them do that once, really. Even in the time where Diana found that huge ultimate that was all on the back of Zuko just finding the 1v9 play, I'm really concerned for this because I just feel like their teamfight execution has been individuals outplaying rather than a coordinated effort. And when you pick a comp that requires so much synergy and so much good timing and you just aren't able to perform on that, I just get really nervous when you run these type of comps going into Game 3.
Absolutely, and to be honest, thought it should be on Game 3 because this is such a difficult position to come back for Hyperion. There is 45 seconds until the soul spawns. It looks like they want to fight for it. Looks like Flippa may want to get it instead of sieging, but they will siege for now. It has yet to spawn. But honestly, they might not even need it to win this game.
I don't think they need anything more to win this game, if I'm honest, Colonel. I think their gold lead is quite enough, but I guess it's just waiting for that push to come in. And I did point out that they haven't done their team fight combo correctly yet. And even 12k down, I think that if Diana finds a nasty ultimate with Galio layered right on top, they could just one-shot everyone. So the really interesting thing about this Wombo comp that they're running is even though they're out of the game, they're never fully out of the game. And because of that, I mean, Soul is going to go over to Flippa, which is really scary, but I guess instead of just waiting for the Nexus to fall, Hyperion have one more chance to find that huge ultimate in their base.
Yeah, being gifted that one window of opportunity. So it looks like, if I can see this correctly, look, they will be doing both buffs at the same time. That will be the Soul going over while the rest of the team was slaying the Purple Worm. And now, with both the Soul secured and another Baron power play, do you think Hyperion can hold on?
I'm not sure, Colonel. Again, as I said, I think if they walk into the base S5 to try to end the game, and Diana and Galio and Zillion are able to coordinate a really easy and big 5 or 4 man all-in, with Volibear layered on top, with Ezreal layered on top, with all of this burst layered on top, there's hope, but with the Baron, with the Soul, I just think that it has to be so on point with their timing for it to matter.
Absolutely, especially with that Baron, all these minions pushing down the base are going to lose their third inhibitor shortly, as they will try and push down the last remaining structure. Whoa! Flashing forward for Spirit, the hook does not land the box.
Hey.
And that could be yet another opportunity to Hyperion. They've been gifted one more chance yet again. Now keep your eyes on the Diana, though. It's going to land. It's going to be a lot of damage, and before the fight even starts, it's going to be a lot. The Muvo will come down, but that's just not enough damage. Garrido on a rampage. Attila trying his best to escape the double, but the double kill goes over nonetheless. And now Ridley Prime will take himself an Ezreal just for fun. The Nexus is revealed. Dracana, good luck. Oh my god, he's dead. And that is going to be game 2 to Flippa.
And how good do Flippa look, Colonel? Oh my goodness. Again, I mean, even when they fall down, even when they fall behind, they get back up and they find the fight. Now, it's really important to mention here, Colonel, I have to shout out to all of my Hyperion Origin fans, and I have to just shout my words of hope. You have to play standard game 3. We're seeing Galio walk into the river first when Galio should be the secondary engage. We're seeing these players not be able to control river. You have to play champions that thrive in controlling river and taking space. If you can't, as a top seed, if you can't take a fight around a neutral, you don't deserve to be a top seed. So I'm calling out Hyperion here. You have to find a way to A, play standard and have the people you have comfortable walking first, walk first into river, and B, take a stronger position around that neutral. Set up earlier around that neutral and hold that position, because that's where they're losing it. They're losing it around those neutral objective fights, and this is a top seed, and I expect more from them.
You heard it from Coach Paka. There's so much that needs to be changed, but hopefully they have one last chance to do so. They do, of course, go down to the lower bracket if they lose this next game. So all eyes will be on Hyperion to see what gets changed looking forward. But we're going to take a quick break before we go into draft game 3. Stay tuned.
Look into my eyes and show me your adventures I haven't seen. Taking all the life, it hits the spot. Walking on fantasy. So take me, baby, take me to a state of mind that's made of, baby, that's made of all that we find. we're getting close. Racing through the waves, I want to be where nobody knows. Take me, baby, take me to a state of mind that's made up, baby, that's made of all the love we find. Electric, feel it in your hands. Hypnotic, watch our bodies dance. Happiness, this is what we say.
It will be the Mordekaiser lock. Wow. Straight into it for Hyperion. Can't say I expected that one as a first pick candidate on blue side, but guess they know more than I do. So it will be up to Flippa. They don't have the Xin Zhao, they don't have the Diana, but they do have that power pick Ezreal that we've seen all series.
And I mean, again, Ezreal's still a strong champion, and people kind of left him in the wayside since his nerfs, but I guess not between these two teams, and we're seeing him be high prio again. Now going over to Flippa United once more, and again, man, I just don't know how you can give Riv 60 so many options. It's crazy that Riv is back on this pick.
Yep, and ready to pop off on it once more. And you thought the picks from game 1 were scary, picks from game 2 were just as scary. Victor back locked in once again for Corrido, and now trying to change it up. This is the curveball that Hyperion is going to be throwing. Oh, it's going to be Ash in the bot side and Brand. That could be, of course, I expect it to be mid lane, although there's a chance it goes support.
I mean, no, this is Dracana. I have the inside scoop once more.
Yeah.
It's Dracana.
I'd be incredibly surprised if it wasn't Dracana. And I am so here for it. I love myself some Brand mid. When I first played the video game, only Paka knows this, I was a Brand mid one-trick pony for the longest time in Bronze 4 way back in the day. But that will be the Nautilus lock-in on the other side. As we go into the second round of bans, we'll see what's going to be off the table. It will be the set that we saw last game.
I feel that maybe taking set here from Flippa United would be good. Maybe they don't play it. I'm just so confused that the only change you've made so far is Brand, but there's a lot of time left to see to still surprise me. You know what? I'm gonna say I'm not happy with blue side so far still, Colonel. I think that Mordekaiser Ash Brand is still too standard for me to be happy nonetheless, and I think Flippa United have just such a strong draft with so many power picks coming out on red.
Yeah, trying to ban each of that support pool now as they get rid of the Leo and the Shen as well. I'm a little bit surprised by that ban. I think historically Mordekaiser has won into that matchup, but it has been a little more even since the item changes came through. But to go into our last bans, I expect it to be yet another one on the top side.
Yeah, and honestly, at the end of the day, I think we can expect nothing more than that, especially since top line has been such a canyon. Having your weak side, weak side top laners get the right champions for them is so important. And now Flippa don't have as many safe blind options. I mean, I guess Mordekaiser, they are protecting against the Mordekaiser. Actually, Colonel, that's such a strange ban out. Especially since Hyperion and Origin have locked the Mordekaiser, because Ornn and Shen don't fare very well into this champion, so I'm a little draft kingdomed by Hyperion.
They're just way too 5-head. It's going to be more mid support, locking a top laner. Honestly, I'm just as confused as you are. There's really, honestly, no reason that I can see unless they really are just that scared of the player difference in the top side. But that will be Hecarim locking in once again on the opposite side of the rift this time around. And now they do have their final pick. We will finally see, I hope it's Brand mid, but we do get to see if any of these shake out into different lanes.
I mean, Colonel, I think we're just seeing stock standard from Hyperion once more, and now I'm not too disappointed. Okay? Never mind. Alright, well, listen, the father has been disappointed once more. I think that Galio is not the pick for this team because they've been struggling with these all-in engages. I think we saw Lo-Fi step forward first on the Galio so often when that's just not his champion's purpose in the mid-game, and because Flippa United have such a scary frontline as well, I just don't know how Hyperion takes space. Now, there is hope for them, yet they have so many pick angles, they have so much damage, and Nass is being slammed on R5 from Flippa, leading all the way to the last pick, Colonel, and honestly, what a wild draft.
Can't say I expected that one, but I mean,
Flippa obviously feeling themselves now, right? Especially after the 2 games that they played so perfectly before. And now, I mean, all eyes are going to be, honestly, for me, on this Hecarim, who we wanted to see more engaged from that jungler. We wanted to see him really start to look more aggressively, and maybe this is the pick that he needs to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it is the Colonel, I'm going crazy here. I mean, maybe just the mid-jungle duo of Zuko and Dracana is so powerful, and maybe the skill that they have on these champions is so insane that at the end of the day, it might not matter, but I just see it heading Flippa United's way in Game 3. I don't think I need to give my explanation anymore. I think I've said enough, I've ranted enough. My Game 3 is going to Flippa United post-draft. Colonel, what's your take? What's the take?
I mean, as much as I want to have faith in what we've seen so far, I have to put my vote where my heart is, and my heart is in Bram mid. And Dracana, he's gonna show up or shut up, and I feel like this might be team composition they need. But all that being said, we are going to take a quick break before we load onto the Rift for Game 3. Stay tuned.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah.
We are finally into it. Game 3 of Flippa versus Hyperion. We did have an unfortunate blue screen for Attila, and Fate's outcome will be subbing in for him due to that malfunction. And back a ball, hold your breath. We have ourselves a level 1.
Oh, baby, we're back at it again with the level 1, and it's a delayed one, too. So interesting seeing what this level 1 is from this team. It seems it's... Oh, my
the
God!
flash hook lands! And he's going to find a good amount of damage. Jakana having to burn a flash of his own. And remember, Brand mid, the reason that this pick is weak is because it has so little escapes. It is very, very vulnerable. Without that flash, that's a big cooldown.
Hello? That was Maniac, Colonel. He flashed, folks. Oh my goodness. That's not the level 1 I expected to see, but a funny one and an exciting one nonetheless. And Colonel, it seems like Darkfire has a pretty interesting tech this game. He was missing the Ghost last game, decides to take it on Olaf this game. I don't exactly disagree with it. I think Olaf is pretty damn good with Ghost, but nonetheless, I think that it's so interesting to see him pivot to the Summoner spell when he didn't on Hecarim.
Yeah, he also will be starting without a leash. Hecarim will be as well with a wolf start. I really love the creative start from Zuko. We'll see how it pays off. Remember, in game 1, he had some interesting pathing that ended up getting him a little bit behind, although he was able to carry later into the game after some beautiful moonfalls. But we'll see how this early pathing is going to affect him.
Yeah, and the one thing I really want to see from Zuko at the end of the day is just to not make a level 3 gank and instead try to get tempo, especially in the Olaf matchup, because unlike other champions, the Olaf is going to be able to punish you for making really weird timing plays so hard. And I thought that Zuko was going to go for the Gromp and Blue at the same time clear, but if the minimap tells us anything, Colonel, he's going... Oh, he is going Gromp Blue at the same time. Okay, that's what I was curious about. So I think he started Wolf so that he could ramp 2 points in Q and then go QW to be able to do his blue side all by himself, but he's walking top to make a gank play, and I'm really upset about it, unless he finds an invade angle onto the Olaf, who may be low HP, may not be low HP. Again, I think
he's not going to get spotted, but he's actually going to go mid instead. He's not able to find anything on McCurry, though, although that's a beautiful stun. Oh, but Nautilus! Hello, Dracana, goodbye! He's going to burn down. The auto's going to be there. First blood going over to Victor.
And it's a support kingdom here. Oh my goodness, has Spheric found these hooks early, and Nautilus and his Spheric been all over the map all series. And again, that play does not happen without your support, and that's why it's so important that Nautilus makes that roam there. Nonetheless, again, weird pathing again from Zuko, maybe trying to find angles in to make plays where teams aren't expecting it. But I guess if you try to make a funky play every game, is it really a funky play, or is it exactly what you're expecting?
Yeah, and that didn't seem at all unexpected. Very much red from the side of Spheric, and I got to give him a lot of credit. Games 1 and 2, he was on point as well. His hooks, I swear, they're magnetic. And now, as we take a look at where the junglers are going to go from this point forward, Olaf does have the tempo advantage once again, and he was going to be able to get himself a topside gank. Squig is pushed up here. Darkfire has found himself into the bush, and now Squig, you have to outplay this. You do have the flash, you do have Death's Grasp. He's going to be trying to push them away. He does not land anything with the Death's Grasp, and now he's just going to be run down. He's going to finally burn his flash, but it may be too little too late. The damage comes through, and Darkfire will find a kill.
Yeah, Colonel, and I feel like it's a little closer than it had to be there. I thought that Swig was going to get out with his life, but nonetheless, they find the cleaver, they find the slow, and that's not first blood, excuse me. That's a kill going over to the top side. Again, Darkfire is so ahead in his matchup. Time and time again, this man struggles to not find a lead in the early 10 minutes, Colonel.
Yeah, now they're trying their best to try and stem the bleeding coming out of this jungle. You saw that Foot Fetish as well as Fate's outcome, the substitute in for Attila, were able to look in and get a beautiful ward onto the bottom side of Olaf right near his blue. So they will spot him right here. They do know he's on the bottom side. Beautiful ward. Thank you for pointing that out. And now they have a lot of information, so maybe this is where Zuko can start to come back.
This is exactly where Zuko wants to come back. I think he might set up in a bit of a lane gang situation here. I feel like we're going to see a collision in the bot lane, or at least prep for one as Zuko's just treading along the outside here, trying to see if anything happens. No, Darkfire opting back into that full clear. Very, very, very standard from this player, going back after his second clear to up the tempo. And now, again, more time wasted from Zuko.
Still not spotted, and they look like they may be trying to push the order on this. He's still here, and that ward may be unspotted. He's going to go all the way around. There's a lot of commit for this play, so they have to make it work. If they don't, then he will be in a very, very tough position.
He will be in such a tough position indeed. He's committed so much to this. Let's see if it turns out, Colonel.
He's going now. The damage is in. He's trying to charge, but the Ignite comes down. He takes 2 tower shots. He almost loses his life for the attempt, and you have to feel for him. Looks possibly like a little bit of tilt, but look at the CS difference in the jungle. But Olaf, he's going to be very, very happy with that one. Actually, as he looks for another top gank, Squig doesn't have the flash this time around, but he does have the Death Realm. Going to have to pull into it. He will onto Ridley Prime, who is level 5 importantly. Now he's going to walk his way out the best he can. No one is here to help him, but the Nasus just ticked level 6 off that minion. And now Squig is in a world of hurt. He's going to fall. Ridley Prime stacking off his body. Has another kill on the top side.
It is, and oh my goodness, has Darkfire found it all? Man, Zuko overextending in the bot lane tower. It does look like a little tilt. He waits so long to make a play happen that isn't meant to be, and now Darkfire has the most gold in the game. He's almost 1,000 up on his matchup, only 7 minutes in, and yes, the Drake is traded back, but we're seeing almost a full jungle up from Darkfire early, as well as all of the kill participation to his team's name. And Colonel, it's a bit of a diffy in the jiffy.
Oh, yes, it is. And I mean, I'm going to shift focus just a little bit. Spheric is up here at the top side, actually. They may be looking on the Brand as he comes back to lane. His Brand has been farming it out. Farming is a little bit tough on mid lane Brand, so I give him credit for being able to farm effectively so far. But Darkfire has taken himself yet another blue. He's going to use his smite. Now Zuko is here, but Mordekaiser are not really in a position to fight. And Darkfire may say thank you very much. Zuko's HP bar is just disappearing. He's going to use the smite just for HP. Now Dracana has arrived, but he's not going to get the ignite. Finally, now he's going to get the stun. That's the passive ticking down. Now Darkfire may have bit off more than he can chew. His HP bar is just disappearing. But Dracana almost dying. But they will finally get the kill. And now Squig is here. Corito, what are you doing? Now Lo-Fi has chopped him out. Deathcraft may have actually made him to escape. You gotta be kidding me. Squig is going to actually give him an escape. And Corito gets out with his life.
Oh, what a miscommunication from the team there. Everybody pushes their CC in a different direction, and then Corito gets to walk away for free. My heart goes out to the Hyperion players because I can just feel the tilt from here. Now, the game is still close, only down 2,000, but with losing their ADC because of a blue screen and now all of the early plays just not finding those kills, it's just tough so far in this Game 3.
Yep, shifting gears just a little bit, I do want to give a quick shout out to the rest of the league for Elemental League. It will be Abyssal falling, actually. They will lose their series, which is a big surprise for many. Monkeys Rising also taking game 2, so that is a tied series against VBU. So that's what the rest of the league is looking at. But back to this game, it's already over a 2K gold lead to the side of Flippa.
I mean, and as I was saying, I think that it's a diffy in the jiffy. Zuko has waited so long to play his plays. I know that not everybody's a tempo jungler. I'm a bit of a tempo jungler myself. Some people try to force plays that they think are really, really worth making. For example, where like Zuko thinks if he gets a double kill bottom here that his team is going to be able to take over the game bottom, so he makes a big sacrifice for it. Well, on the other side, Darkfire just kind of looks for the very, very simple take what I can get plays, and because of that he finds more plays but of less importance. But at the end of the day, Zuko burns so much, waiting so long for the perfect play that he ends up making none.
Yup, and if we could toggle to gold real quick to see how big this difference in the jungle is. Hakram did find himself one kill, but oh no. hate to see it. Darkfire is ahead of the entire map. He has 1,000 gold advantage over his counterpart alone, attributing almost to close to half of the lead that his team has. And all eyes are going to be on him wherever his next play is because he already has his mythic.
I mean, let me tell you right now, Olaf is a scary, scary, angry man. Being ahead of the game in Olaf is one of the best feelings in the world because randomly your champion never feels like it falls off. And now Darkfire may as well be the strongest player for the rest of the game here with so much farm and kills to his name. Basically on level with the solo laners, Colonel. It's just, wow. Man, is this Olaf so fed. And it looks like, you know, Darkfire tends to sneak these Rift Heralds when he doesn't have Prio, and he walks away from it. He's learned from game 1. He's learned from his mistakes. No touching the Rift Herald on this day for him.
Everyone can learn eventually. Now trying to make a play in the mid. As just a little bit wide. We'll ignore that one. But Darkfire hovering in the mid lane. It is less than 30 seconds until this Mountain Drake spawns. That means that it will be either a Cloud or Infernal Soul. After the slaying of this one. And the bot lane has priority, although Nautilus needs to get it back. This is unfortunate timing because it's 10 seconds until it spawns.
It is a really bad base timer, and with Zuko bot side and the Vision only going to spot Olaf from the Ashes Hawkshot. Maybe it looks like the base is stopped from Galio. It looks like no. It's such a hesitation from them, and I think that means even with the late base timers, Colonel, the Drake is going to go over to Flippa.
Yeah, you can see Hecarim also getting off his back as well. So despite the base timings, it will be secured. And now we have to look at where Hyperion is going to try and put their efforts in, where they're going to try and gain their advantages. Because they have been slowly losing the farm in every lane, including the jungle, for the entirety of this game. Top, you never like to see a Nasus with a farm advantage. Also has a kill to his name, and Ezreal has also been outfarming the Ashe pretty significantly.
That is, and it's so interesting because Ashe is supposed to be so dominant in this situation, and Colonel, I can't believe my eyes. I think that we had Flippa as this team that was ahead and tempoed in favorites, but again, the game isn't anywhere near over, but we thought the series was going to be close, and Flippa just looked dominant. They've almost looked top class, like favorites in the league to win it all. This is amazing to see from this team as they're 40 up mid, they're 40 up top, they're 20 farm up in ADC and mid lane. I'm sorry, 40 up jungle, 40 up top. But nonetheless, these farm leads are massive and they're up almost 4K at 13 minutes with only 3 kills to their name.
Ooh, Corrido with a potential overstep. We did see him get an overstep before. He's going to try and TP away. But Zuko, he does not have the charge. He cannot stop it anymore. Woo! You can make no wrong if you're on Flipper right now, as Corrido will escape with his life.
No way, man. Oh my god, Colonel. I can't believe what I'm witnessing. He just got away with a heist, man. Wow. Corrido finds the TP out just in the nick of time and with no CC from the side of Hyperion. Another gank not going Zuko's way, and I feel like, wow, that's got to be deflating.
Yeah, you hate to see it because that would be exactly what they need. Spheric will find the hook. May not exactly want it though. He's going to be Ash arrowed straight to the face. That's going to be a great job kiting away. And they're actually going to find the trade kill. They will get the one. Now Riv holding his flash now, but the ultimate's coming in. Has a lot of damage to W. Perfect from Dracana. He will get the kill with that Pillar of Flame.
And I mean, it's Dracana on one of his iconic picks, making the magic happen again, and it's Darkfire on the Rift Herald, doing it without any help. Let's see what comes out here. He is so much stronger than this Mordekaiser. If I were him, I might as well go for the kill. But there's a fight in the river.
Corrido, maybe third time's the charm on finally picking this man. He will fall. Lo-Fi Foot Fetish coming in for the play, and now they have themselves a Rift Herald potentially, and slowly clawing their way back from this gold deficit.
Yes, Colonel, I have a PSA. If Darkfire watches this in the post-draft, just why, man? I just need to know. I think he's been outperforming in the jungle so hard this game, but it feels like around Rift Herald so much, he tries to sneak it so often, and maybe that's how he wants to find his advantages, but it's post 14 minutes and you're trying to hit the Rift Herald with no one to help you. And even though he wasn't the one who got collapsed on this time, his mid laner pays the price. It's just, sometimes, man. Sometimes,
Looks like
man.
Flippa's early game lives and dies by Darkfire and his Rift Herald. But regardless, it will be pushed out of the mid lane. And now Nasus is taking his turn at the Rift Herald, clearing out that vision in the top side. But there is a minute 30 until the Drake spawns, and I'm expecting a fight.
And honestly, Colonel, I don't even know if we should ever not be expecting the fight, as we've been saying all series, as these teams won't stop as Darkfire. Ooh.
Popping the Ghost, does use a cooldown, but able to escape with the Blast Cone is Fate's outcome. And now fighting seems like not over the Drake, but actually over the red buff, as they will be looking for the play. Ash Arrow is going to be hit, not ultimate coming out as well. Jakana trying his best to escape, but Olaf is just rampaging. He will get the heal, but it means nothing. Now Darkfire can try and find one more, but he will fall. And now the HP bars are so low for the side of Hyperion. Dorito is in a bad spot. He will get pulled into the Death Realm. Squid will probably be able to get this kill. We'll see. He's going to get stunned. Dorito, can he escape? No, the Decimate will come out, and he will be immediately traded once he comes back to life. Finally, this time around, Flippa gonna win a fight. I'm sorry, not finally, but once more. And Nasus will be very happy with that one with 37 seconds left until Drake.
It will be, and I mean, again, you have this team fight here where there's just the gold advantage is showing as the Ezreal R from Riv comes through and deals a lot of damage. Garrido's single ability almost rips through the remainder of their HP bars, and I think that even though I'm not sure if this was the best fight to be found from Flippa in the first place, they're just so far ahead that they just walk at them in the jungle and take their lives.
And now the Drake just about ready to spawn. And it is one apiece, so this is not incredibly important of a Drake for either of these teams. It will not be a Drake point for either of them. But they want it nonetheless. This will be our second game with a Cloud Soul on the line. Not one of the highest prized Drakes by the community, but powerful nonetheless. And it looks like they are walking in, but just a little bit too late. So it looks like Hyperion, for once in the series, not going to fight over it.
They aren't, and I think that that's a good thing. I think that as long as no one dies here in the interim, which, I mean, they may have overextended here still, Colonel. Let's see.
Oh, we spoke too soon as the hook's going to land. That's going to be a pick absolutely onto the Ashe. And now on the opposite side of the map, it's Squig trying to escape. Carito flashing forward. He's going to hit him with the E, and now the ultimate coming out from Jakana, trying to get as much damage as possible. He's stunned up. Low 5-foot fetish will try and keep him alive, but Carito is escaping. Really Prime on a rampage. Now Zuko has to find his way out. Really Prime doing so much damage with these stacks. Flashing over the wall! Really Prime with a double kill! Nasus goes where he wants. He will be able to escape the Tower 2 Spheric with the good guy support play as they get the Drake and then some.
Oh my goodness, Colonel. And as soon as we say they aren't going to fight over it, they stay too far forward and look for too much, and boom, bot lane dies. Now Squig is being chased down. Carito, a little bit of a misplacement here after flashing. At the end of the day, he finds the kill, and honestly, he sets up the grab well just in time to put down the damage for Ridley Prime, and now Ridley Prime gets to go crazy. Bonk, 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 over and over and over again, Colonel, and he flashes the wall too, just to get some more, and I can't believe my eyes. Flippa have absolutely dissected Hyperion in this game 3.
Nasus has almost gotten himself the Flame Horizon. He's got to get close to it. We'll see if he's able to do it. But 5-0-2, if we could toggle the gold, let's see how strong this Nasus is. Darkfire was their carry in the early game, but Ridley Prime taking up the mantle of that highest gold, just barely tying between them. And check out, all 4 of those carries are topping the list. Flippa couldn't be in a better position.
They absolutely couldn't, as I think Darkana just may have lost his life.
What a stack! That is disgusting. He's going to find the stun, able to force out Ridley Prime's ultimate. And now that's coming in with Zuko's ultimate, trying to stall, but he's stacking. It's just so strong. Finally, the shutdown goes over. 650 gold in the pocket, but Squig potentially overstepping here. The laser is going to find its mark. Carito will get himself his 4th kill of the game.
Oh man, as soon as they find something that goes their way, now the shutdown is very important, Colonel. The top lane gets dissected as well, and oof, it is just so wild seeing these teams duke it out back and forth, because if I was a player on Hyperion, as soon as I feel I've fallen very far behind, I usually tell my teams to sit back and see Hyperion still put their pedal to the metal and keep the motor running as Dracona steps!
Furic is always where you don't want him to be. He will gift that kill over to Darkfire. And once more, finding a pick. They will be looking for the tower, though. They will try and find Riv. He finds a taunt, but can't look for anything more. And now you have heavily overstayed. Spheric, again, always where you don't want him. The hook is going to land as the depth charge will find his mark in another stack going over to Ridley Prime as he finds his 6th.
And Colonel, that's exactly what I was talking about. When you're behind, you need to sit back and farm a little. And this team, as soon as as Dracona gets picked in the top side, they push tier 2 and then try to fight Riv after. It's just unbelievable stuff seeing them just try to keep pushing and pushing the tempo. I think that this may be the case of this team being so far ahead all season, and now that Flippa are on form, in form, and able to take it to them and punish them for their aggression. They just keep forcing the situation and they don't know what to do anymore. It's absolutely obscene stuff seeing how as Hyperion have been fantastic all season, Colonel. I can't believe what I'm witnessing.
Me neither, and they might be looking for another play in the mid lane. But we just saw Zuko dink level 11 as Darkfire finishes off Asterix. And if you take a look at the level difference, it is starting to get absurd that solo lanes are all behind. Look at that XP. Riv is also ahead of his counterpart. This is absolutely ridiculous, and they're continuing to find ways to get ahead as yet another Ash Arrow misses and another opportunity to look for a pick for Hyperion.
I mean, again, they just get to control this jungle so early, Colonel, with the Drake up soon. It's just, oh my goodness, the control. Again, Hyperion just not being able to even find a way in for these neutrals. Now, they are down 9,000 gold at this point, Colonel, but honestly, they need a miracle here to get the team fight right. But oh my goodness, this may be the call, Colonel. They're walking over the Baron as Drake is spawning.
Oh man, do the Flippa realize this or not? They do have vision, so they are currently on the Drake, but Victor is coming. He is very, very quick to this play. Nautilus will be there as well, so Darkfire will be able to get the Drake while his team pushes the rest off. As Ezreal will even hit his mark to make sure that they're there and that they have peeled away. And now, potentially, both objectives are on the mark as they're actually staying for this tower. They're about to get a full team behind them. Paka, I can't believe what I'm seeing. They're going to be engaged upon, and now they have to escape. Nasus is not even there, but I'm not even sure if they need him. The Chaos Storm will come in. That's a lot of damage. Nasus finding a stack on the other side, and now looking at the damage. Nautilus trying to peel away. Actually, Spheric will potentially fall here. Philo Zuko able to find that kill, and now they're looking even further. Lo-Fi foot fetish flashing forward just to his demise, and now Olaf gets to rampage in the backside. Fate's outcome will fall. Garrido on a killing spree on the other side of the map, and Hyperion has been dismantled.
And Colonel, as I was saying just a couple seconds ago, they don't know when to sit back and they push the tower as they have no right to do so. Look, okay, so they're topside here, and as we go back into replay in and out bouncing a little bit, but they try to take this fight because they're forced into it, but they just don't have the damage to do so, and because they don't have the damage, they use everything before the cavalry arrives, and Credo and Riv are just able to pick apart this fight with Darkfire killing the Ashe, and oh my goodness, Colonel, I think that may spell series.
I think it should. Already getting past the 10k gold mark, and this is complete domination from people that honestly going into this season we didn't expect them to have this strong of a playoff performance, but coming in from that 3rd seed, dismantling the 2nd seed last week in a game that honestly could have been a 2-0 for them if it wasn't for some crazy heroics from that mid lane Tristana, and now doing it again in what could potentially be a 3-0 against the 1st seed.
It is a 3-0 against this 3rd seed indeed, Colonel, and if they do close out this game, which they very well should, Does this mean, this is a big question, Colonel, does this mean that Flippa are favorites to win it all this year? Do you think this is a big enough statement to put them in the front of the rest of the playoff run?
This has to be their statement game. A 3-0 against Hyperion would absolutely mean enough for me to consider them favorites going into finals.
And I mean, wow. I can't, honestly, Colonel, I'm really starting to take this all in, and I just can't believe how dominant this has been from Hyperion. Again, we expected Flippa's form to put them as slight favorites, but this has been a dismantlement as the tier 2 bottom falls, and honestly, the Nasus is left alone in a side lane. And Colonel, he's just going to take down towers himself if he's unanswered. But who do you even send to answer him in the side lane? He's absolutely untouchable right now.
Oh my god, how many stacks he has? Over 600 to his name as he will take down that top tier 2 tower. And his team is almost cracking down the inhibitor line on the bottom side. He's 1 CS away. I think he should get the Flame Horizon if he farms just one more. And now they're looking for the fight. Oh, where'd your HP bar go? Darkfire is unstoppable as Lo-Fi will try to escape. Now Olaf going all the way. Maybe that's a little bit too far, but oh, the heal is ridiculous. You've got to be. Oh, man. Almost finding that kill. He will finally fall. Corito is pushing in. The minions are going to be pushed, but regardless of Darkfire dying once more, I don't think it matters. Ooh, Riv is even doing it. And now flashing just to stay alive. The towers are going to fall, and this is going to be a series. Oh, looking in, trying to find the kill. They can't even get it. You hate to see it. Nexus is open. Fates didn't even have to move. He was autoing the whole time, and their HP bars didn't flinch. That's the series. That's the game. And Flippa, you've made a statement.
Wow, Colonel, you have gotta be kidding me. It's a 3-0 absolute demolishing from the side of Flippa Unite. I just can't believe my eyes, man. Wow.
What a statement game. I got to give them so much credit. Every single member performed. They were all so on top of their game. Their form is so good. And honestly, it's hard to even pick out who your player of the game of the series is because all of them look so dominant. The jungle was always in Darkfire's favor. Corito was finding the craziest escapes, but honestly, I'd have to give it to the Nautilus. This support, Spheric, always in the right place at the right time.
And I think that you have to reward the quiet player of the series as well. Spheric literally, we didn't have to talk about him because you don't really talk about supports as much as you do carries unless they make mistakes. And we were talking about Lo-Fi a fair bit in this series because he was walking in early. He wasn't setting up right with his team comp, whether that be on his team or him. Nonetheless, we were talking about him, and we said only a couple words about Spheric all series, and it's because he was killing it. It was amazing, Colonel. And honestly, Flippa are my favorites to win it all.
After that game, I think it should be everyone. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations again to the dominant victory for this team that, honestly, I didn't have the highest expectations. Very much kudos to you guys. That is going to be it for me and Paka. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Fire makes the city look so bright. Close your eyes and just stay tight. We have to go. Stay with me while we leave. Don't worry, just believe me. This journey will relieve us. Stay with me while we leave. Stay with me while we leave. Don't worry, just believe me. This journey will relieve us. Stay while we leave. Stay with me. stay with me while we leave. Don't worry, just believe me, this